And hip hop, baby,
I
hip
see you
hop, hip
representing,
hop.
taking you back to the beginnings. We're gonna take it back to '88 when MC Azim used to set y'all straight. First of all, Azim Rashid is in the building with me, music mogul, senior VP for Columbia, Sony. Azim, I guess you worked for just about every label there is.
So I worked in Warner Music. I worked at Universal actually twice, and now this is my first time working at Sony. So yeah, all the major systems.
Yeah, because I guess now there's only three, huh?
Yeah.
First of all, how you doing, man?
It's actually, man, it's been interesting because for me to not have to move around is, we're catching up with technology, and this is something that one of my mentors told me when I first got in the business. He said there'll come a day and a time when it's you and three other guys all working remotely, and none of this will exist. So unfortunately, we're here because of the health crisis. But all the technology that we have at our fingertips, and probably we use, I don't know, less than 50% of it properly, is now being utilized.
That's a pretty interesting point that you just made, that all this has been available to us and we have not used. I've been forced to do a whole bunch of things. I'm doing this. I never did this. Azim, you started off with wax, selling out of trunks, being independent, seeing it go from, the 8-track, the vinyl, which was always a mixed cassette, to the DJ mixing on cassette so we get the mixtape, to then it goes to the CD, to then it's the MP3. Now it is streaming. And somehow the music industry at every corner, at every turn, panicked at every corner of this. Somehow, some way, music, and right now probably doing better than it has in years. Why?
Well, one, my belief has always been, and if you ever seen me, you've seen me speak, so anyone else who's seen me speak, I live by I do this for the love, and thankfully, I get paid for it as well. But I would do it for free if I could sustain my life, right? But music is an emotional medium. It touches every one of us. There's 7 billion people on the planet, and it touches each and every one of us differently, but it does touch you. And when you really think about music, you start talking about sound. You want to get into science, birds chirping, that's music. The ocean wave, that's music. So music's been all around you. Even the sound of the heartbeat of a baby in a mother's womb is music, right? So it's always been around us, and it's something that you can't ever get rid of. And I think that what the business piece of it is that people forget about the human connection. And the reason the music business continues to thrive and morph and change and with the ebbs and flows of technology is because of the human connection. You can never get rid of something that is so intimately involved in the human spirit, in my opinion.
I'm just curious, here it is in this year in time. How does the independent, or is it all about independent? Because you're on the label that, signed Lil Nas X. I'll be honest with you. Before he got to y'all, the song was already successful. No disrespect to you, because I know y'all got tired of the creator and all that too. But I'm like, a lot of these guys are doing a lot of this stuff on his own. Why is Azim and the label still important in this day and time? Because I'm just seeing the shrinking of everything. But somehow the major record companies still manage to survive. Guys like you have managed to survive.
Well, I think that the first thing is you got to remember that the big machine is always about amplification. Doesn't matter when you go back. You go back to the early days of the Industrial Revolution, right? It's about mass production and doing it bigger and better. Doesn't mean that somebody else wasn't good at making cars. It meant that Henry Ford did it better than anyone else, right? So if you apply that to music, listen, independent music, and again, coming up on the music scene here in Texas and even Houston, which has always been probably more advanced than Dallas, but being part of that, those guys who first did it independently on the hip hop side, there's an economy out here that does not have to reach the top level, right? Thinking about where we are in 2020 with social media and everything's in your face and online, and you have to be connected at every touch point. People forget that to earn a good living, to sustain yourself, or even just to be a part of something that you feel connected to, does not require bright lights in big cities. It just requires will, a work ethic, resources, obviously, talent, because you're talking about selling something, and opportunity to do it. And anybody can do it. And the thing about the computer and the smartphone is that it allows and has opened up the universe to anybody who wants to do it. And even though I'm a professional and done this my entire adult life, one of my knocks on our industry, unlike other industries like sports or engineering or medicine, you don't need a pedigree. And it's kind of snobbish, and I'll say, and I'll take the heat for it if anybody has beef with it. But the fact that you can just wake up today, buy a laptop, learn Pro Tools, and decide you want to be a musician, it's unfair to those of us who spent our lives really honing our craft and studying. And like I said, it doesn't mean that there shouldn't be some outliers, because some of our best music, some of our most innovative people have been outliers. But I think that people just think that anybody can do it. It kind of cheapens it, in my opinion.
How hard is it for you now to do your job? Because what is required of you now is different than what was required of you 10 years ago. Or am I wrong? Is it still all the same?
Oh, I mean, listen, all I need is a phone and a computer, just so, and I guess a charger so I don't run out of a battery, right?
Let me get into, what exactly what exactly do you do?
I'm a promotion guy. I'm a music guy first, obviously. But my direct title is the head of urban promotion at Columbia Records, and what that job entails is the promotion, the proliferation, the exploitation of our product or our artists. And my job is to make sure that I can get as many eyes and ears on that product as possible, so that they can have an opportunity to consume it. We used to say sales, and we still say sales. We have a sales department. But consumption is what the current term is, so that people will stream it, so they will download if they still download, so they will watch it on YouTube, so they will buy concert tickets, so they will buy T-shirts. My job is to promote and market the artists, so they have an opportunity to get those dollars.
How has it changed for you?
Oh, dramatically, man. I mean, to your point about when I first got in, even from my love of the game, when I fell in love with music, and more importantly, when I fell in love with hip hop. Being in high school, not very good, by the way, teenage DJ, getting turntables and then, throwing and promoting parties. I mean, I've seen it all, from, the 33 12 inches, to CDs, to MP3s, and now to audio files and streaming. So the delivery device has always changed. There's a book that I read, a couple books that I've read. One's called Exploding, by an author named Dan Cornyn. It is basically the life of the Warner music system. And Warner is probably the oldest label, because it started out in the early 1900s as with Warner Brothers, the film company. The music piece came later. But there are things that we talk about in the business, that the business has always been built for everyone who touches it to make money, right? So from the composer to the producer to the engineer to the manufacturer to the art guy to the session players, whatever. So we've seen it change to where all those people were necessary, to now, as I just said, you in your bedroom, your basement, your attic, your backyard with a laptop, you're a one-man, one-woman show.
Yeah, true that.